All right, what's up, everybody? This is John, Texas Cornhole Show. I'm here with Grant. Grant, how are we doing?
Doing great. How are you?
Living the dream. Living the dream, man. I showed up today, made some bags, threw some bags. Now we're doing a bag podcast. Today's my bag day. Um, yeah, I'm doing great, man. We got a lot to talk about, and we're gonna try to get it all into 1 hour
Hello, events.
on our amazing microphones.
Oh, and we're going to dip into some drama later.
We got drama coming, all kinds of drama. I mean, it's basically all drama for the most part. Well, let's kick it off with the draft results, right? So we had the Signature Series event in Waco, Texas. It looked like it was a huge success. I wasn't there. Looked amazing. But speaking of successes, Mr. JD Thompson has proven once again that he's the best person at drafting players. He uses a spreadsheet. He doesn't use just SPR. He uses his own method, his own system, but it is sound. It is based in statistics, and he's proven that he drafts the best team. Because when I was dominating the draft, I was only drafting against you. JD's drafting against 3 other people, and he's won now 2 in a row.
Yeah, I mean, it does change things a little bit, though, when you're have 4 teams being drafted rather than 2, as far as the player pool goes. And I got him in, I beat him in singles. He got me in doubles. That's basically how it turned out, because he beat me by pretty much 20 points.
Well,
19.
And the other thing to bring up is you beat me.
Yeah, and I beat you. And I beat you by 11.
Yeah, you got second.
And Dan got last.
Oof, Dan's
by 85.
It was bad.
He got last by 85.
You might want to try SPR, maybe peek over JD's shoulder.
Look at some stats every now and again. And what's funny is I actually didn't use the stats in the spreadsheet when I drafted at all.
Oh yeah, well, you're very knowledgeable.
Well, I know the players.
You know
I know what's going on, and the top 2. JD won his top 2 picks. This shows that his system is a good system. His top 2 picks in singles got tier 2.
Hey, that happens.
So I'm just saying.
Wait, his top 2 picks. Who was his number 1 pick?
Jacob Watley.
Oh, that's right. He got off to a rough start.
And then, I mean, I'll say this. Kevin Meza, what the heck, man?
Oh, those are the 2 guys that made it to the finals. Hold on.
In tier 2.
In tier 2, yeah.
Hey, come on, bro. What is going on? I will say, I think a couple of them had some really hard pulls.
Yeah.
The pools were based off points at this event, so it shook it up a little bit differently.
Yeah, I think the draft would be significantly different if we knew the pools ahead of time.
It would make it easier to make certain, because you'd be drafting guys out of pools rather than drafting them overall. For sure.
And then, go ahead.
Well, then we're going to go on to the West Texas guys that had their draft picks. Madden Franco takes it down, winning by 55 points. The second place team was Joe J. Arias. He finished with 554 points, and then Jason got 677, and Daniel Schwartzlander 732. Yep.
And then we also had Fire and Ice, Rob Price and Rick Ellis drafted.
So the reason their points are so much higher is the draft pool they're drafting from is so big.
Yeah.
So big. And they also drafted 3 different divisions. Or 3 different brackets pretty much. And Fire, Rick Ellis, won with 1,233 points versus Rob Ice Price's 1,342. So it's honestly not that far of a race, but Rob Ice Price might have had the record for most non-tier 1 drafted players ever. He, the amount of, I think it was 59. I kept on going there and putting it in. It was like, dude. Next time, look at the stats a little bit when you draft, because clearly it does make a difference. I think it makes a big difference because the guys that throw the higher PPRs, they aren't going to bust as often,
right?
When it comes to getting to the main bracket. So, and the way our little side bet worked, we basically split. I don't know what the determination is on that, but it's a split.
Yeah, it was 2. I won with Rick, but then you won in West Texas. So we're calling that one a wash.
Okay.
I think. unless I lost. I'm not trying to get away with
I'm
it.
gonna be honest. We're just gonna call it a wash.
Yeah.
We're just gonna call it a wash.
But I had a lot of fun. I love that everybody got into it, and it was cool to bring some other people on to the show, basically to like be part of the draft and to be part of the big Signature Series event, which I know a lot of people look forward to, and I think it was really cool that we had more people participate, and this way more people were able to be drafted and
Right.
kind of be on the same team, and it gives people reason to have a good
Well, it's
time.
just an extra thing to talk about and have fun with, and we're going to rotate some of the drafters. Some of these guys we're going to keep around though. Like I mean, Rob and Rick, the stuff they were doing during the event
Yeah,
and hosting and
Dude.
and doing their stuff, that's awesome.
Rick
That's
Rick Rick
fantastic.
Ellis asking if Rob Price is going to call a timeout in the middle of SIG for the draft was hilarious. Right.
What do you mean?
He posted something on social media about how Rob was trying to call a timeout during like their contest, which is hilarious because Rob is notorious for calling timeouts in
Oh,
cornhole
okay.
matches.
So
Uh,
that's pretty cool. And but yeah, they had a lot of fun with it.
yeah,
They did a great job. The West Texas guys definitely, we're doing their thing. Matt and Franco bet on himself. Didn't finish in first, but he still did win overall. It was really cool with the guys that are kind of doing this, and we're not going to be doing it for the league championship. There will be no draft for the league championship. I'm busy, so we'll start again Sig One next season and get it rolling.
yeah, and then some other things to point out about the draft, and then we can move on. I think the biggest story is the prove us wrong duo of Derek and Bryson Good, the father and son team that went out there. Nobody drafted them.
They didn't just prove us wrong; they demolished it.
They got third place.
Yeah, they
And
demolished it, man.
yeah, third place at the top, throwing slow bags. They were throwing greeds, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it's
there's on slow bag streets. Yep.
yeah, that's a punishing bag. It's got to be flat. You got to be a good player to be able to compete at a high level with a slow bag like that. And they did it. And I watched them for a little bit. It was fun to watch them, on the live feed. By the way, I forgot. Shout out Andy Blada. If it wasn't for Andy, I wouldn't be able to watch any of the TCL stuff. He does a great job. Um,
He does. I mean, Andy's it is scary how good he is at
yeah,
that stuff because for a brief moment during the championship games the lights
yeah.
flicked off and on.
I was
And
watching.
it's like, okay, that was power. Power just because there's a storm going on. And I saw a comment afterwards. He got the live feed back up and running on 3 courts or however much
Yeah,
in 5 minutes.
he's
Man, fuck you for being so smart. What
yeah,
the hell? How do you get that? It would take us a little while.
yeah. I will shoot. It happened here, and it took me like a day. So, although for whatever reason the network disappeared and I had to like reassign IP addresses and whatever, but the the most industrious man on the planet has done it again. He's shown that, if trouble rears its head, he'll shoot it. He's a troubleshooting genius,
He is.
Mr. Andy Blada.
He is.
Yeah, and so thanks. I got to watch so much of the Sig series from not, or I wasn't able to be there, so I
And
was
what
supposed to
is
be able to watch.
exciting is that we're working with Andy going into next season, where hopefully on the main stage we can get the what's it called?
Terrace Truss.
Yeah, truss. Yeah, where he can get a different camera angle on the boards,
Yeah.
and that's gonna produce some higher quality clips. It's gonna just give a better experience for the viewers at home. So
Yeah, that's great, man. All right, cool. So that's pretty much the SIG and or the draft, and then you wanted to talk a little bit about this SIG. I think you mentioned it was like, was it the biggest one so far, or what was the?
it was that we had, I believe, 1350 to 1400 people on Saturday night or Saturday during the day. So it was the biggest signature series we've ever had. It's the second biggest event we've ever had outside of Ryder Cup. Last time we did Ryder Cup, and I believe that was 1650 to 1700 people. So yeah, I mean, after all this talk, there was some Facebook posts about cornhole that people don't want to play. Well, there's more people replacing you, so biggest signature series ever. Cornhole is still growing. Championship night, we saw the pictures. Biggest championship night as far as crowd goes that we've had.
So going back to Chase Lester's question in our last episode, do you think that the no pro finals had an impact on people sticking around?
No, I don't think it had an impact at all. At the end of the day, there's still high quality cornhole going around. But I do think that there was an argument Dylan Scenaro brought up about, the whole super teams deal. At
Yeah.
the end of the day, TCL is not a pro league, so there's still going to be some sort of rules around it. But maybe it does open up down the road for certain guys to be able to team up again.
Yeah, I was thinking it's kind of a numbers game, and now there's so many more people playing.
Right.
You can create a bracket with 32
Yeah,
teams.
you're exactly right. You got to have the financial support to kind of do that kind of stuff, create more brackets, and you have to have the talents there for it to make sense. There's certain other organizations that have tried to do the pro and elite thing, or they try to do a higher level of singles or doubles, but just don't have the amount of people that can play in it for it to work.
Yeah.
So it's been awesome, though. I mean, the Signature Series was awesome. Ran super smooth, ended at a really good time. I mean, the only complaint I think was that there was no fireball, but
Wait, there's no fireball the whole time?
there's no lick. Yeah, Chad convinced him to make one shot, but it was basically a little bit of a mixed shot. But
Oh, so
yeah,
you
there's
can't have
no
straight liquor?
Yeah, you couldn't have straight liquor, and
Huh.
so, but there was no one checking the doors or anything or checking bags, so definitely shots were coming in the building for sure. But it seemed like the least drunk Sig in a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was. You could definitely tell. I think it's happened this entire season. Um,
I think it's a worldwide trend that I started. I got sober. Now everybody else is drinking less.
I think the TCL culture might be changing just a little bit, and you're seeing some people, really care. I mean, they're having a great time without getting just out of hand. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Well,
So,
alcohol's bad. Everybody should quit drinking.
alcohol's bad.
Alcohol and carbs.
I don't know. When I started drinking, I had a pretty good time. So,
All right. You wanted to mention the points chase for TCL, right?
yep.
It's over soon.
Yes, the final day will be May 19th. So you have until May 19th to get your events in and try to get into the top 100. And then make sure, if you're in the top 120, there's already been an email sent out to you to fill out a short 2-minute form. They're starting to collect jersey sizes and placing those kind of orders. So make sure you're on top of your stuff. Again, May 19th is the end of season for points.
All right. Hey, before we leave this topic, shout out Levi Haddock.
Levi had it, got it done in singles, huh?
Got it done.
And shout out Center Cornhole, top 3, baby.
Top 3 singles players?
Top 3 singles players. You had Levi, Kale, and then Chase.
And wait, one of the doubles guys is on the team.
Yeah,
too,
Tanner Gibson, Kanan Hatcher and Tanner Gibson won doubles. Tanner Gibson, center player. He's rocking his rookie jersey that we just made, kind of a little collaboration we did.
And the other doubles team was a center team too, right?
And the other doubles team was
it's Ty
and Blaine.
Yeah.
I can't say his last name. And Blaine, I think that was Blaine's first time being in that kind of position because when he came out, man, I think game 1 he just had a bad PPR. So, but they did not throw center bags; they threw bag brokers bags, and it didn't play out well for him. So sucks.
Well, I guess the same thing happened with I'm blanking, but you know what? Well, I guess the number 1 team, right? They're on the center team, but they don't throw center bags. And we didn't talk about this before the show, but kudos to you for not telling your players, you have to throw my bags. You know what I mean? Like you find somebody you want to play with, you can play with a different bag. The bag drama is overboard, and the guys who run bag companies that walk around telling people, why are you throwing those shitty bags when they're not yours, or that force their players to throw their bags. I think you guys are losers.
I mean, we'll just give it a little bit of a timeline. When I first started centering Cornhole, it did not bother me with other guys throwing other people's bags until it became very evident that I was being taken advantage of as a sponsor.
Yeah.
I was, trying to support these guys and give them my platform and do certain things. And next thing you know, it seems like it became a habit for them to throw other bags besides center bags and wouldn't even try to get other people to throw the center bag. So then I did have a phase where I was like, okay, if you're on the team, you throw my bags. That period into story. It was
well, I mean,
it
is that is the point.
That's
like
the point.
You're being sponsored. You should like my bags. You should want to throw my bags. Like that is the point. But sometimes
there's situations where it's like, hey man, I get it.
Right.
There's situations where it's like, hey man, I get it, and I'm getting back to that, or I've been on that for a little while now. But yeah, there's one thing to play around between bag companies. Oh, why are you doing that? Why that kind of thing. But when you're just telling random people, or you're just telling people in front of other people, why are you throwing those shitty bags? Come on, man. Like, why are we just? I think the whole bag rivalry thing, I think it's over after this past season happened, and hopefully we can just go back to throwing bags and having a good time and people focusing on themselves, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I'm friends with most bag makers.
I'm friends
So-
with you. I'm friends with some of the other ones too. But
all right. It's time to move on to ACL.
ACL.
Yes. And Grant, I should have bought 2 of them.
This is stupid.
Did you know? Have you seen me?
This is
Hold on.
This is
Yeah, I should have got you one, bro. Okay.
I mean, I like it. If there was an R at the very end.
All right, guys. Not only do I have a Believe chain, but it's signed by Mr. Ellis himself. So now that we're talking about ACL, I think we've proven, well, in my opinion, Jeremiah Ellis is the best player in ACL, but there are reasonable arguments that
So
Gavin Cano is the number one, the hottest player right now. It's a reasonable argument.
I think there's
It
an
fails.
Yeah. Oh no. See, there's an argument for sure. And we really won't know until the end of the season, to be honest, because it's that tight of a race. We won't know until it's over.
But is it fair to say those 2 are on top right now?
Yes,
Okay.
totally fair to say those 2 guys are on top. At the end of the day, there is a finish line. So talking about who is ahead by this much, I think it's kind of just dumb. But both these guys are on another level, and I'm not a Jeremiah Ellis hater. I actually like the guy. But at the end of the day, Texas till I die. So Gavin Cano, I'm riding or dying with Gavin Cano, baby.
Yeah, I guess
I just love watching that kid throw. It's so fun.
It really
the way he
is.
throws. It's like me. It's like when I was watching Devin Harbaugh back in the day. It's unique and just fun to look at. It's aesthetically pleasing. Kyrie Irving, just aesthetically pleasing watching him do his thing. You know.
I agree. It looks good. He makes it look like an athletic move a lot of the time.
Yeah,
you know.
and I love it, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, I agree. He's a lot of fun to watch. And so I went back. So the ACL had all kinds of stuff going on. They had a pro shootout, a national. I guess that's it. And then doubles and singles for both, I think. So, of course, the same mistake as last time. I went to their website to see what the results were. And the top 4 of all those things I just mentioned advance to the ESPN broadcast. They don't tell you who the top 4 are. So I only know that Cano and Ellis are 2. Oh, wait. Ellis and his partner also made it.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
You
Ryan,
know
and
what's
you
funny?
know his name?
What's his name?
You don't know Jeremiah Ellis's partner?
Nope.
Ryan Hart. And he
Okay.
played great. And
Good.
those 2 made it to the doubles, I think pro shootout.
Okay, I actually love hearing that. So we all know the comment I made the last episode.
Yeah.
You know,
The one thing you could find wrong about Ellis.
the one
right?
thing I could poke at, I poked at, right? And Jeremiah made sure to message me and let me know that's not okay. But but I'm glad to hear that after I say those words, that his partner Jeremiah made a huge run and did their thing. So that's really cool.
Yeah, man, they
That's really
made it. So they're going to be on the big broadcast as a doubles team, throwing gas. Although I will say, I watched Ryan Hart a little bit in singles. That dude plays way too aggressive, in my opinion. Like, you're in those situations where you can give up 2, or you can go for the airmail drag, and he's going for the airmail drag every single time. And he gave up. What happens? You give up 5, then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what happened to him. And you can hear Ellis in the crowd saying, like, "Be smart" or something like that.
Oh yeah, it's just sometimes just take your lick and move on.
Take your 2, yeah, give up your 2 and don't give up a 5.
Right. So,
But that's
and-
all I'll
and
say
just,
about
like,
him.
You're hitting this big airmail to wash, you know. And don't get me wrong, I have definitely shot those airmails.
Oh, yeah.
And it doesn't work out like every time I do it. But I usually have more of a reason besides just trying to save those 2 points. So it is what it is. By the way, shout out to my favorite player, Sammy Soto. He is getting didn't get to the end, but he's finishing top 5 in like all of these events.
Yeah, well, okay, I did take a note on Soto or Sammy. In the tournament, I think it's in the pro shootout singles, where Ellis met Cano, and Cano beat him to advance out of the bracket. Beat him 9-7. Right, so the game was just getting started. It was just getting started.
And this goes back to, again, some stuff we talked about last week about rounder events. It's like, you want a game to end 7-9? What? It gives me when I played Frank. When I played Damon Dennis at my Vegas Pro Shootout. That was back when I was a pro.
Yeah.
The first time I played him in the rounders to qualify for the tournament, and that was being broadcasted. Me and him had a matchup. He beat me 4-2.
Wow, in 10 rounds?
In 10 rounds, he beat me 4-2. I mean, it's not that. Come on, what are we talking about?
Yeah, and then, to flash back to when Ellis beat Guy and he was down, I think it was 18-3 at the worst case scenario, and came back to win the game. I mean,
Right.
and honestly, I started becoming more of a believer of what you're saying, that round limited bags is not the game of cornhole.
Right.
And I'm kind of understanding because it's an elimination game. There is no clock. You
Right.
always have a chance to get back and win
They
it.
added a clock / rounds to justify the
TV.
the TV.
Yeah.
That's all they did.
And it's the most exciting game I've watched all year was that incredible comeback.
Right.
And you're just not going to see that in pro shootouts. So all that being said, you know, it is, I guess, entertaining. It is 10 rounds. There is a certain pressure about it being 10 rounds, but I am starting to lean towards you and your opinion that it's not cornhole.
Right.
But mainly that's because my boy Jeremiah lost. He was just
Well,
getting warmed
Come on,
up.
Gavin, let's go.
He was
You
just-
showed him who's daddy in those 10 rounds.
Yeah. Now I think they're 1-1 now on
All
head-to-head matchups.
All right.
But
well,
okay,
Can't wait for game 3.
in that bracket, Ellis beat Soto to make it to the final. So Soto got third in that bracket. So we're talking Ellis, Cano, Soto. He's right there.
Yeah, he's right there.
He's right there.
So super proud of Sammy though. He's going out there and taking care of business for the most part.
And I'm gonna go ahead and say this on the show because I'm a huge Jeremiah Ellis fan, and I know everybody's sick of it. I get messages, by the way, that I won't say what the messages are. They're not nice.
Are you glazing?
Oh, dude, lots of homosexual references, lots of like calling me John Ellis because I want him to be my daddy. But all right, just to say these things, these are true, and I fact checked this before our show. Ellis has more singles points. He has more doubles points. He has a higher PPR. He has a higher 4-bag percentage, and he also has a higher DPR. So I think objectively, as of right now, the dude's better at cornhole, but Cano and Ellis are definitely the two at the top.
Yeah, I mean, you can talk all you want to about points and whatever, but I'm not buying into that argument when you're talking about who is the best.
The best as of right now.
Best.
If somebody had to go play a game,
I just think it's a dumb conversation because I want to talk about who was the best that year. I mean, so right now it's just kind of like we're in the pro season's hardly even started. Really, it's like halfway through, not even. So, come on.
and I can kind of argue on your side here that that's the reason there's a league. That's the reason there's the end of the league. There's a championship tournament for the whole league to determine who the best is.
Right.
So I get your point. It's a good point. But if you had to pick a guy right now
But no,
to play a game of cornhole,
it's like they don't start the MVP discussion in basketball until you get 75% through for the season.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, these are your front runners for MVP, and they still list like 5 of them. I mean, come on, we're splitting hairs with these stats.
I get
and
your
stuff.
point. We're not splitting hairs. It's clear as day.
It's splitting hairs. We have no idea. Come on, bro. We're splitting hairs.
But it also kind of fits into this rubric of the argument that round limited is not cornhole. This is like we're in the middle of the season trying to pick who the best player
Yeah.
is. There's still a whole season left.
Bro.
Hey, maybe it's Sammy by the time the end of the year comes
You
around.
don't know.
He's right there.
You don't know at all. And
Right?
I mean, hey, that's my boy. I believe in my boy.
All right, before we get off of ACL, what you want to guess what else happened? What other drama occurred in ACL this past weekend?
What kind of stuff happens in ACL?
I forgot if we went over it. Yeah. All right, I'll go over it briefly. It was Jamie Graham and Frank Modlin, and Jamie now is jumping over the line like Frank does, and both of them, dude. Like Jamie had one that was egregious, where he's just completely out of the box, and he hit the shot, which is kind of funny. I mean, I say that because if you go way out of the box and miss the shot, you're pretty stupid. But if you go out of the box and you make the shot, it was a huge push shot, huge collect. It was a pretty impressive shot, honestly. And then Modlin, okay, the rule is you have to keep 1 foot in the box, full stop. That's the easiest way to explain the rule. You can cross the line if you want to, but 1 foot has to stay in the box. And Jamie just totally came out of the box. What Modlin does is he does that hop jump step thing he does, and his back foot raises off the ground. So his foul is not nearly as bad as the one Jamie committed, but it's coming up, and every time he does it, it's a foul, and the dude does it 10 to 20 times in a game.
Bro, next rule change is going to be, it's going to be like the end zone for the NFL. There's an invisible line going up from the box, and as long as you're inside the invisible line, you're okay. They're just going to keep on stretching the rule when it's like, dude. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's definitely some foot fouling and some stuff going on at the TCL event and people not understanding.
There was a lot of foot fouling at the TCL.
I mean, so it's going to happen, but at least with the TCL thing, it doesn't get egregious because the rule is real tight. I mean, you can get called on the rule at any point in time for sure, but if someone's going to step across the line, we're not talking about a lot. We're probably talking about maybe a foot, maybe. Where you're talking about ACL, these guys are acting like they're just super athletes out there. And it's like, bro, get your 300-pound ass behind the line.
350. My position is that the rule in ACL is that referees can penalize a player at any point. Where in TCL, the rule says you have to warn him yourself as a player and then go get an official.
Right.
So the TCL puts on you. ACL, they're supposed to have people officiating these games. We're talking main broadcast court. These dudes are jumping over the line and nobody's doing anything about it. And they're supposed to be gambling on this. So that's the other thing. Like, if this is going to be a national league that promotes gambling, get your shit together.
Oh, right. You have to follow the rules you're setting in place. So again, I mean, you're talking about a pro league versus a non-pro league, and so there's different standards that go along with that. But I mean, I'm tired of talking about foot fouling.
Me too. I mean, I hated to bring it up because I feel like I'm just repeating myself over and over again. They just have a dumb rule. I made the mistake of engaging on social media with like a typed out comment, like,
Oh, it's because he tried to use a 3-point line.
He used a 3-point analogy,
and it's like,
no, that's actually,
it's like, hey, it's like, hey, in the same sport you're talking about, when there's no one guarding them, they have to stay behind the free throw line.
And I looked up the rule, by the way. You have to stay behind the plane. They use the term plane like in football. You cannot break the plane. Your body can't do it until after the ball hits
the rim.
Something. Yes. So.
And the only reason it's that is for rebounding purposes.
Right.
So
how did ACL get this so wrong, and why is it so important that they have to keep it the way it is, that you have to let players go over the line, because you can have those athletic moves,
to be honest with you,
behind the line.
Right. So to be honest with you, I think the reason is that you don't have high level cornhole players in the ACL leadership that make the decisions. So they're just getting input from these people that want to keep crossing the line. They want to make that decision. They want to do that.
The team we're talking about, sponsored by All Cornhole, which is owned by ACL, by the way. Does that have an influence in this whole thing?
They're owned by BG now, and
we don't know that for sure. Wait, hold on. I don't know if I've said this on the show before. Public record shows that Stacey Moore purchased All Cornhole's intellectual property rights, all their trademarks, all that stuff. Stacey Moore owns it now. So the owner of ACL owns All Cornhole, and the All Cornhole team's just jumping over the line and no official saying anything about it. Coincidence? I think not.
Conspiracies over here. That's what we got.
Yeah, I don't think it's a coincidence.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of cheaters, there's some drama in ACL.
Oh no.
Yeah. And the drama is, and I'll try to explain this as concisely as I can. If you want to be a pro in ACO, you can do so by earning enough points. There are accusations that certified officials, like myself, people who could run events and award points and enter points into the system, are running phantom tournaments. They're not real tournaments, and they're just giving their buddies the opportunity to get a bunch of points. So and I have not looked into these accusations on my own. Okay, I've just seen stuff on social media. One of my favorite ACO players actually made a post calling people out, and his evidence looks compelling.
The evidence is solid, and that boy tagged every guy, and he tagged them all, and not one of them or ACO leadership have said a word.
Not yet. I mean,
I'm sure ACO's gathering information, getting the facts straight before they just come out and say something, which is totally reasonable and kind of that's how they should operate, right?
Yeah.
But the guys that are being accused, not a peep. Not a word. And it's like, okay, you just got caught red-handed, bro.
Well, and shout out to Tyler Goodwin is going to, he instead of him just like making these blank, because a lot of people will make these accusations without being a man about it and like calling people out. Like, I'm saying, you cheated, you cheated. You know what I mean? It wasn't just some random, like, I think people are cheating. No,
you. And doing that kind of stuff, I mean, you're bringing, negativity in. I understand that. But that's the kind of stuff that will make the league better because you're getting the bullshit people
That's right.
out.
That's right.
I mean, you're targeting those people that are clearly breaking the rules. So good for Tyler Goodwin. I wasn't going to use his name, but you did it first.
Well, it's out there. It's public record. You know what I mean? And I like the guy. And, the fact that he's like kind of sticking up for the rules and calling people out, I think is commendable.
Right.
And then, at the high, kind of going back to cheating in general, like you expect people to do the right thing. right? These ACL guys, they know what the rule is.
Yeah, but
The COs at ACL, they know what the rule is,
yeah.
and they're breaking it.
And I'm sure it happens more than what they even realize. This might just be the first time there's concrete evidence. And I mean I don't know what ACO's true system is, but the U score Holios, I'm assuming is something similar to what I do for TCL.
You submit your games, and they're supposed to be reviewed,
Yes,
and then the points go into the system. That's pretty
right.
much how it works.
But there's certain things that are getting taken advantage of where it's like, hey, the ACO has a set number of like, hey, there at least has to be at keywords. There at least should be this amount of people for a point to count for that event to count as regionals or whatever the terms are for them. Well, you have COs going out there and literally creating tournaments max that many people when they can handle more.
Yeah,
That's
that's an accusation that I haven't seen myself, but I've heard this, that regionals are going on that have like a super small number of people in it, and more people want to play, but they don't let them in, and there's some drama there. But it makes sense, right? Because
right.
if like me, like I've got my team, all you guys, right? Why don't I just have a regional with just you guys and
Yeah,
nobody else, and you all
yeah.
get points,
And
and myself too. I'm gonna put myself in there as well.
and I mean, there are things at stake when it comes to TCO, but I guess these guys really want to be pros in ACO, and that's the reason it's kind of going on.
Well, in TCL, you guys have the number one player, right? I mean, I think there's a cash prize
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
number one player.
Yes, but
So there's some incentive for people to cheat and for regional directors to input scores that didn't actually happen.
right.
That's what's going on, right? And I know in ACL it's the same thing because you can get enough points to qualify as a pro or to go to the regional or whatever, however that
I guess
works.
the reason this is a real problem is that it's multiple people have to work together for this to happen in ACO. If you were to do this in TCL, the players have to be on board and the directors have to be on board.
Well, that's the same with ACO.
Oh, yeah, but the odds of that happening in TCL is a lot lower compared to, I guess, in ACO where they have. I don't know what the numbers are for them, but they probably have these smaller
They have
areas,
small regions. Yeah.
and they think that they're just going to fly underneath the radar and not really be seen, but
Yeah.
it didn't happen. And
And,
then
and we don't know the whole story, right? There could be an explanation. Like I think one of the pieces of evidence was like the tournament started and ended really close. I don't know if that's correct, but it's possible that Tyler got it wrong. But you know, the way the criminal justice system works, I don't know if you knew this, but you have to go in front of a grand jury. If you're not familiar with this process, I'll explain it briefly. A prosecutor can't just go charge somebody with murder, right? A prosecutor has to go to a grand jury and present the evidence that he has to charge somebody with murder. So there's like a check before you can just go drag somebody into criminal court. And the evidence that Tyler put out there does look like it would pass the grand jury step. Like it does look pretty good, but innocent until proven guilty. Let's see what's the actual truth is. There's a lot of accusations going on, but it's also crazy what people will do to try to cheat the system. Like it just keeps happening. I think foot fouls is analogous to, well, is it analogous? I guess a foot foul you can say it was not necessarily intentional.
I just don't think it's the same level. I think, you can steal something from Walmart or you can rob a bank. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Yeah.
it's bad. I mean, I'm sure ACO will get this figured out, and I'm sure, okay, so
Yeah.
let's do something entertaining real quick. What's the punishment for? Let's just say all things are true. What's the punishment for something like that?
Oh, you're banned for life.
You think?
100%.
Yeah, you don't just lose your position as a CO or whatever. Because the first people that's like the hammer, CO.
Dude, if you're entering fake tournaments, I'm done with you. Full stop.
I
If
think
it's my
players
decision,
should be suspended for at least a season. COs, y'all are done.
yeah, I would agree with you.
Because the players can't do it on their own.
And just like the lack of integrity and there's a certain mindset that would do that kind of thing. And that it cannot be a certified official. That cannot be somebody running leagues that would just lie and make shit up
Right.
so their buddies can get points. That's
Right.
that's the way I
And I
look at
guess
it.
from my point of view, if you're going to go that far to get this, pro status or be able to do certain things, aren't you taking all the like enjoyment or success or the just a feeling of I accomplished something when you cheated to do it?
Yeah, dude. That's exactly how I feel
And
about it.
at that point, what was the point?
What's the point? Yeah, I was able to cheat to get a pro jersey.
As long as I'm the only one that knows I cheat, who cares? I mean, no, I think that
Or
kind of
I guess
stuff.
maybe you want the free pass to main bracket. I'm just trying to think like what else besides status. You actually do get something out of it. Like with the TCO one to cheat the system to try to get the cash prize, right?
Yeah, but that I mean you got to be number one, and the thing is, when people are looking at the number one, well, let's look at this. Let's look at your events. Let's check it out, and you're gonna get caught.
You're gonna get caught,
You're
right?
gonna get
No,
caught.
you couldn't have been there because you were over there.
Yeah,
You
but
know what I mean?
we're talking about guys being in the back end of the point standings. And so, I mean, Tyler Goodwin's clearly a smart fellow to find that stuff, or he has some
Yeah.
friends that were digging into it. But that's
Just looking around on Cornhole and being like, wait a second, this doesn't make sense.
going through 100 and something, probably 200 comments by the time it's all said and done.
Yeah.
You got some people start talking about points in general. The whole mini major argument.
Yeah.
Hey, dude, that's kind of part of the system. You are go out and seek out these smaller events to get your
Yeah, and let's
points.
do like high level summary here of what we're talking about. So the ACO spans like the entire country, and now it's into Europe. And so if you wanted to, and I thought about doing this next season, hunt down all the smallest majors. I've got a great way to transport myself there, and I can go to all the smallest ones, right, and compete in those and
Because
get
your odds just naturally go up to finish
yeah,
deeper.
like they had a major up in Grand Rapids. I forget where Mount Rushmore is.
Okay.
Is it Grand Rapids City? And there's like, I don't know, 70, 50, maybe less people there. And then at the same time, or so, they had one over in like their heartland where all the ACO is like 3, 4, 500 people. So clearly it's going to be way easier to make the main bracket, to make a run, to get big points because the what they call mini majors. Really anything under 100. I think all the ones we've been to are under 100 players. And like this weekend, they had two. Um, Toledo and Mobile, I believe, both of them were like 300 players. One was maybe 200, maybe one was 400 or whatever. But point is, the people that are in the heartland that don't want to travel very far are kind of screwed because they've got to deal with this situation where it's really hard for them to get points, where for some people it's really easy to get points.
But that's, I mean, part of the game, and if that's harder for you, then, I mean, that's part of it. You got to go travel and try to go and get into these easier ones. It's just part of it.
It's just part of it. And the same thing happens, I think, in TCL. You can hunt for the smaller regionals that have less people, that have less competition,
And from the business side, it makes sense for these leagues for them to want you to go do this because it goes and supports their regions or their different events.
Exactly.
Because at the end of the day, Frank Gears is putting up the same amount of money for each and every single one of these.
Yeah, and he needs people to travel. Like you get reports from these cities. You have to be able to fill these convention centers, to sell hotel rooms, to do all these things. So you need people to travel to events. So you almost want to encourage it.
Right. And again, there's people that really do not understand the amount of work and stuff that goes into getting those events to be a certain way. So, I mean, hopefully these people learn one day, maybe.
Probably not. All right. Before we leave ACO, I have to say this weekend I was looking at the statistics for the two majors. And dude, we're talking like the first page in the 10 PPRs, 10 plus PPRs in these things. One of these guys was in ACO throwing carpet bags. I was paying attention to him, throwing carpet bags, threw over a 10.5, and he placed like 7th or 9th or something like that. So I don't think ACO gets enough credit. Now that I've been traveling around and going to those events, I've watched you compete in them. These players are way, way better than what I see on social media, especially when
they're better than advertised.
Better than advertised. And, to go, the guys that come out of ACO and go over to ACL have been dominant. Like Ellis, Jamie Graham, Matt Guy, Ryan Windsor for a period of time.
So, I mean, my counter to some of this stuff, though, is that I think Cornhole is continuing to grow at a rapid pace.
Yeah.
And that the talent level you see in TCL for sure. So ACL, so these other leagues, absolutely, the talent level is just raising.
It's
raising
ridiculous.
and raising.
I wanted to ask JD, maybe he can get his hands on that kind of data. Like, I want to know the average PPR in Open last season versus this season. Has it gone up a full point? Because I don't remember looking at the front page and just seeing 10 plus PPRs. Like, what is going on?
Right. And the amount of people that are doing it, too.
Right.
So I think that's the big thing, the amount of people doing it. I mean, hey, just because you can throw a 10 PPR doesn't mean you're going to win, because the one game you throw a 9.5, someone probably threw a 10.5.
Yeah.
and it's just how it goes.
Do better bags have anything to do with it? Do you think the bags have gotten better?
I don't think the bags have hurt. I mean, the bags have definitely helped, but I think that there's more and more information getting out there about how to become a good cornhole player. Like, I mean, just look at the video we had. I had multiple people stop me over this past weekend at Signature Series and saying, "Hey, man, I was watching your videos, I've done some of your practice stuff, and I've seen my PPR go up, whatever." Or I hear you say this, and that. My point is, there's a lot of information out there.
Yeah.
It's for you to become a better cornhole player, and there's so many people out there that you can watch and take things from. Where like back when I started the flop shot, there was only one guy named Tom Allen that I saw shoot the flop shot, and he called it the Yankee flop. And now it's like just a common shot that
Yeah.
C players know.
Yeah.
They may not be consistent at it, but they might hit one too.
Yep.
So that level of cornhole is just raised. I'm excited to see how far we go. Those stats on Scorehole would be crazy at some point.
Yeah. I mean, people are getting really, really good at cornhole. All right. So, if you're still listening to the show, and if you're in the Grand Prairie area, I'm going to make an offer. Reach out to me. If you're interested in getting better at cornhole, we have built the pitch analysis station, which I'm still searching for a better term. PAS, whatever. I posted a little video of it. We've got different angles that are synchronized, and we can put little anthropometric measurements on it. But we can look and see like how your skeleton's moving and how all this stuff, all this data on your pitch. And if you want to come either Monday or Tuesday, preferably during the day, and let me record you pitching bags, I will do that for you in exchange for you being kind of like a guinea pig. So if you want to capture that video data, if you want to get that video data of yourself, reach out to me on my Facebook page or through the Texas Cornhole Show's channel. Schedule a time, preferably on Monday or Tuesday during the day, or maybe Thursday or Friday during the day, not Wednesday. And yeah, reach out. We'll set it up, and maybe it'll make you better. Maybe it won't. But it sure would be cool for me to start testing this on other people to see if we can improve your pitch.
And I also want to throw one more request out there. For those that watch the live feed on Tuesdays and the other live feeds going on, if y'all see big shots, will y'all clip it for us real quick?
Oh, I can grab the clip now, but I can't necessarily replay it.
Okay, if you can grab the clip, awesome.
I got one button.
Then, even if y'all have like past stuff or whatever's going on, send them to the Texas Cornhole Show, please, because we would love to start producing some commercials, some little clips and stuff. Post them on TikTok, post them on anything. So, any help would be appreciated.
Yeah, don't forget to tag us, like us, subscribe us, all that good stuff. We are trying to grow the channel, and we have been consistently growing. We're almost at our goal. Not quite almost. We're almost at 800 of 1,000 subscribers. That is our goal, to get to 1,000. We've been chugging along, and we're going to get there. So I'm pretty optimistic.
Hey, we're in good shape. I'm happy to see the show grow the way it has. And that all has to do with you, sir. All of it.
Hey, I try. I believe.
But hey, by the way, John and I have been working, mainly John. I've been working on a couple of upgrades for the show going into the next season and doing some things. So we're excited. I mean, we're going to keep on doing our thing. So thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for supporting. Thank y'all for sharing. And any more of that, we'd love a lot. So appreciate y'all. And remember, it's just a game.